Hello, good evening and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be doing a maintenance video. This is regarding the Dyson hand sticks, okay? As the title of the video suggests, this is what I would do on my monthly maintenance for the hand sticks, because Dyson state that you have to wash the pre-motor filter every month on these. And again, they do with the uprights as well, and the mains ones it's usually every month. So just as Shark have filters, so do Dyson as well, and these have to be washed every month. So it's been a month since I last washed this. The same goes for the V8 here. So I'm going to show how to basically strip these down for cleaning today. And we're going to start with the maintenance that I would do on the V6, and then we'll talk about the V8 after, and I'll show how to remove the bin from this, remove the filter, and basically give the V8 a clean as well. Now this hasn't been used as much as what this has during the month, so obviously this V8 isn't going to be as dirty as what the V6 Absolute is, because this is the machine that I've been using the most in the last month. So it really does need a clean out in here now. I have cleaned it in the meantime around the shroud without taking the bin off, but today I need to remove all the bin and give it a good clean. So what we also need to do is to focus on removing the brush roll from the main floor head here and giving it a clean, just to make sure that there's no nasties lurking underneath there. So what we're going to do, I will take this into its component parts, put it on the bench here, or the worktop, or the kitchen worktop as I would call it, and I've got my other vacuum cleaner ready. It's just behind where the camera is. I've got the hose there because I'm going to be using another vacuum cleaner basically to help me clean this one out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the wand down to the basic unit like this. I'm going to put it on the workbench, and I'm also going to remove the forehead as well. Now, as this is the V6, there's no fluffy head with this one to worry about. That's in there with the V8, and I'm not cleaning that today because it hasn't been used enough to need cleaning. So essentially we're going to be cleaning this, and we're going to be cleaning the filters and the inside of the bin on the V6, and we're going to be doing the same on the V8 as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put this wand doesn't need any maintenance apart from the look down, just to make sure there's no obstructions in there, which there isn't, so that's absolutely fine. So we'll just put that out of the way. Right, so as in my usual technical videos, let's put the camera down so it's focusing more on the workbench here. Okay, so what we're going to need to do first, I will just put this to one side because we're not going to be working on this just yet. In fact, yes, let's do the floor head first, and then I'll worry about the rest of it after. These floor heads don't take too long, so once again I'll just put the camera down a bit further onto this. So what we're going to do is basically, this is the floor head roller. We need to make sure that this spins nice and freely, that the brushes are all intact here. Check the carbon fibre filaments on it, which are okay on this at the moment because it's only 3 months old. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a screwdriver. We can use a pound coin, or well, they say you can anyway, use a 10p, whatever have you. But I'm going to use a broad bladed screwdriver to undo this here. Okay, and then we remove that, and then we can pull the brush roll out. And again, I just check on the yeah, you can see that perfectly well. So we've got my cloth here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just wipe down the brush roll to start with. I have done this in the month before as well, so I mean it's not terribly dirty, this isn't, but if you hadn't cleaned it for a month, it's liable to be fairly dirty, this brush roll. We can have a look down inside here to make sure that there's nothing untoward in there. Get the little cloth in the end and give it a clean out. What you can do as well is pull the end off here like so, and then what we can see is that there is starting to be a build-up of dust inside there, which usually happens. There's your end cap there, and there we can see inside here is the metal bearing. So what we want to make sure is that that bearing doesn't get all this gunk and dust building up. So what I'm going to get the vacuum cleaner and just vacuum this out. On the end cap as well. Just like so. Okay. So now you can obviously see that now is a lot cleaner inside there. The idea is that we want to make sure there's no hairs or anything wrapped around here that are going to anyway interfere with the operation of that bearing. So now I'm going to just push the end cap back on like so. We just make sure that it spins nice and freely on the under there, because that's important. Okay, so that's the brush roll done. As I say, when these get older and more worn, you do tend to find these black carbon fibre filaments start to get very thin. Unfortunately, that's just one of these things with these type of cleaners, and Dyson do sell new ones of these on their website. But if your machine is in warranty still, it's worth giving them a ring if your black filaments do wear out within the warranty, and there's a damn good chance they may well send you another one free of charge, because these they shouldn't be wearing out within the warranty period. So that's that. Now we need to just check inside here. This is obviously the floor head, and what we can do is get our cloth, and we can put the cloth inside here, get it right up over the top of the motor there like this, and we can give the plastic inside. It's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit awkward, but you can do it. Get the cloth over the top of the motor. You can use a screwdriver just to, well, actually no, it's best not to do that because you could scratch it, but it's possible to manipulate your cloth basically over the top of the motor and give that a clean out underneath, and it makes it look better for longer. You can't get rid of the scratches that appear on here, but you can go some way to making it look a little bit cleaner inside there, because they do get very grubby, these do. So again, I'm putting my cloth in, and you're making sure that you're getting all the way across. This inside here is the motor for the drive. What we're going to make sure on this is that this bearing here, again you can see there's build-up beginning to form inside here, and also inside the end of there, and that could be tricky to get out. So you can use like a small brush like this, or another type of brush like that, or whatever you've got, to basically allow you to get inside here, and you can see all this fluff, look, inside there, how that's building up. We need to be getting that out. So we can see there's a lot of fluff building up inside that bearing. And over time, that could have a detrimental effect on the workings of the brush, of the floor head, sorry. So we are going to attempt to try, because that actually goes up and down on a spring, you see, to make sure that the floor head is seated correctly. And inside here is actually the same sort of bearing as there is inside this end cap here. But the idea is that we need to get all the crap out of the end of there. And I should have done that really before I cleaned the inside of here, but when you're working on a video, it's a little bit more difficult. There we go. That's better, isn't it? So there, we'll just get the vacuum out again and put a vacuum across that. Right, okay, now what we can do now is we undo that little screw there and we turn this with the screwdriver until it clicks anti-clockwise. That will then allow you to remove that section there, okay? Then you can then see down this gap. Now you need to be checking down here, get your brush in down there to make sure there's no dirt build-up in this gap, and also where the outlet is here. So you're looking underneath that section there, that's where the suction comes in. There should be no obstructions at all down there. Okay, so that's nice and clean. Well, it's clean enough. I mean, you haven't got to really go mad with it, but you need to just make sure you've got no blockages. Again, clean the inside of this. Okay, and then we can put the... I mean, you don't really need to take that off there unless you see that there is blockages inside here. So we can just position this back on like so, and then do the nut back up like that, and that's all it really needs. So it's basically, there's your motor drive at the end there. Your bearings there have got to be nice and free. There's got to be no build-up and gunk inside here, and similarly no build-up and gunk inside the end cap there. And then we can put our brush roll back in and literally do it back up, and that's that. Give it a little clean off again as well, and then I'll just get my vacuum and we will clean that. Like so. So that's the floor head done. Now what we're going to do is we are going to open the bin and we're going to clean this out. Right, first of all we're going to remove the filter from the top like so. That's going to go in the sink shortly. We'll take the back off as well. Be careful as well not to press this at the same time. I know it's easy to do. Take the filter off. Again, this is only applicable to the V6 Absolute. If you've got a standard V6, which is basically one of these type, you don't need to worry about this back filter at all. The only filter you need to worry about is that one. So let's just move the camera up slightly, because I'm going to empty this now into this bin. So we'll open the bottom up in the way we normally empty it. Give it a good tap, like so. Keep on tapping until you've got everything out. Okay, that will do. Right, now in order to remove the bin, basically you'll pull the lever down again, like so, till the back of the bin drops slightly. Then grab hold of the front here and pull it away from the cleaner, and then pull it down at the same time. So what you're doing is you're disengaging this lug on the front. Okay? That makes it a lot easier to pull this off. So there's your bin. What we can do is get the vacuum cleaner now and vacuum the bin off. Just like so. So that bin is all nice and clean, right? Put that out of the way. You don't need to wash this in water. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it, because there's electrical components that run round this bin here. Okay, so don't submerge this bin in water. It's not a good idea, because there are electric parts that run round it. Just a quick clean out like that with another vacuum is the easiest way of doing it. Now we're on to this here. So again, the easiest way of doing this is to get your vacuum, okay, and we'll give this shroud a good vacuum off. what you need to do is to pay special attention to these contacts underneath here. Very important those contacts are, because those contacts are what makes contact with the contacts on the back of here, which supplies power to your power head. So if you've reassembled it and your power head doesn't work, that'll usually be because you have dislodged some of the fluff from here and it's got trapped under these two connectors here. Okay? So we need to get a little brush into the back of there and make sure that those connectors are kept clear. Otherwise your power head won't work. So we'll carry on cleaning this. So what we can do is we can put our dusting brush directly onto the end of the bottom of here. As long as the filter is out, you will be drawing the dirt from inside of here. This is where the cyclones discharge into, and it's usually full of dust. So we can put the vacuum cleaner, dusting brush, onto the end of there, and it'll suck it straight through. And I'll turn the power up. So there we go, and you look up here, and as long as you can see the bottoms of the cyclones in there that aren't all clogged up, then it's all fine. And that's all we really need to do. You don't need to start dismantling all this, because it's just not really necessary. You can see there's a little bit of dirt left inside there, behind there, but this is easily damaged, this shroud, as it's only a very, very light plastic. So as long as you've given it a brief clean off like this, that's all it really needs, because it's only going to get dirty again as soon as you start using it. Okay. Right, so that's the V6, so that is ready now for the filters to go and be washed, which are these here. So before we do that, I'm just going to show how to dismantle the V8. Okay, so what we're doing, exactly the same thing again. Let's just make sure that camera's okay. Yes, it is. So we're going to undo the bin like we normally would by lifting up this. Again, give it a good tap. Then what we need to do, we have two little buttons, okay? One here, look at that on the camera, little button there. So we push that button down, and at the same time as you're pushing it, you lift this off completely, okay? So that is how you remove the cyclone assembly from the main unit. And also, then, there is a little button, a little latch just here on the bottom, so you pull this back, and at the same time as you're pulling that back, you drop the bin downwards, and then your bin will come detached from your power unit, okay? So again, I'll just put this out of the way now. What we need to be doing is getting the vacuum, make sure we're still on film here, and then I'm going to, again, do the same thing with this. So it's very simple really, isn't it, to do that, and that's all we need to do. So that's nice and clean. We've vacuumed it all out. Again, I wouldn't be washing this in water. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put it back on. So we line it back up to the machine. What we're doing here, we've got to make sure that these two terminals there correspond to these two little terminal housings here where it plugs. It's like a plug. So basically, as you're pushing the bin back on, you're plugging it back in again to the power supply. So we marry the two up there like this, and then push it up until it clicks. Okay, that's now back on. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to take this and we're going to refit it into the runners on the back gently, and then just slide it down until it clicks. Right, push it down all the way and reclose the bottom. Incidentally, when any of this is taken off the machine, this is disabled, so it won't work, it won't come on. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to clean the filters. Let's put this to one side. So what we do is we'll check the filter on the back of here. Now that to me doesn't look too bad, but what I'm going to do, because we're doing it on the video, we're going to give this a wash today, and we're going to wash this as well. So we're going to go in the bathroom now. Just bear with me while I set the camera up over the top of here. Turn the light on as well. Right, so they're in the sink. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill the sink with water. It can be warm water or just tepid water. Right, and I'm going to throw the filters in, both of them, okay, like so. We're going to give them a good immersion in the water. So what I'm aiming to do is that all the dirt will be inside this filter. So I'm going to be filling the filter with water like so, fill it up, and I'm going to turn it upside down and pull it out of the water. So all the water inside here comes out and brings all the dirt out with it. Now, as these filters don't get that dirty anyway if you wash them every month, it's not like a shark where they get absolutely filthy. So these filters really shouldn't be, you'll get a small amount of dirt coming out, but it won't be a massive amount. So we're going to give it a squeeze underneath the water here. Again, lift it out of the water, let it all drain out. Fill it up again, all drain out, give it a good squeeze. The idea, as I say, any pet hairs or anything, any grime that's caught inside this filter, because this is how it draws it through. It draws it in through the top here, through the filter and then out. So all your dirt is going to be inside that cone, not on the outside of it. Any larger debris that's inside here, obviously if you just rinsed it under the tap like this, you're not getting out the dirt that's inside. So this is the way I always prefer to do these. I'm going to do it several times. You just be gentle with it. You don't like squeeze it like mad, because otherwise you can damage the plastic inside. It's got like a little frame inside here. Okay, so I'll give it a shake off. Try not to get water on the lens of the camera while I'm doing it. And then this filter, again, don't, whatever you do, get your finger in there and start rubbing it, because these are very fragile, these filters in here, and they're also extremely expensive to replace. Because your max button's built into this on the V6, you really do have to be as gentle as possible with these. They don't get that dirty in there. Okay, now empty the sink. And again, you can see the water's pretty much clear, isn't it? It just goes to show that these filters don't get that dirty in use if you do them every month. And now we're going to give it a rinse under the water. And always rinse it that way down as well. Pointing downwards so the water drains out of the bottom. Like so. That's that. Shake the water out, and then what we can do is we can get it in a towel and squeeze it gently inside the towel like so to remove any excess water. Don't squeeze it so hard that you damage the container inside. Clean round the rubber, and that's it really, and all we need to do is to leave these to dry. Let's take the camera back off here. And let's get back on here. So basically all we're going to do now with those is I will leave them somewhere warm to dry, not directly on top of a radiator, but I'll probably put them in the living room somewhere like on top of the mantelpiece or somewhere where they're going to dry. Okay, so that's those. What else have we got to do? I suppose we could now basically reassemble this here so that it's now waiting for its filters to go back in. And you'll do the V8's filter in exactly the same way because it has one of these. So the V8 filter the same, and you take the filter off the back of the V8 in the same way. They're literally, where has it gone? The V8 filter here comes off just the same, just like so. It's exactly the same inside, and wash that out as well, as I showed you in there. Same goes for the filter. And now what we're going to do in the last minute or so is to reassemble this. Let's just make sure the camera's focused. Now, as I say, the easiest way of doing this, first of all, you need to make sure that this trapdoor is open. So press down on that lever to make sure it's open. And then what we're going to do is there's a recess in the front of here, okay? That recess has to marry up with that there, okay? There's like a tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all line that tab and recess up, like so, okay? Push it back towards the machine so it's lined up, and then literally push it back towards the machine at the bottom, and it clicks in, and then you've done it. It's as simple as that. So, and then we just give it sort of a wipe down. You can vacuum it down afterwards. So what you want to also pay attention to as well is this area here. Where those plugs are there, make sure there is no build-up of dirt in there, otherwise you'll have problems. Again, use the vacuum to clean that out. So there we go. All we need to do is wait for those to dry overnight now until tomorrow. Make sure they're totally dry, and then you can put them back in, and then you're away again. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you again on the next video. Bye for now.